Thank you for that time of meditation to prepare our minds for our message today. And that message is all about a closer look at love. Because just like the song said, with angels all around us, and how the daily word was talking about life everywhere, life is the force that animates all that is. I like to tap into that when I give a talk. And so I like to begin my talks, whether I do this to myself in my own mind as I'm sitting there getting ready, or like today when I decide to actually make it a part of the talk. I like to turn this over and surrender because there's always something wanting to come through. And so I begin by saying, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, for he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wants me to be, knowing he is here with me. I am healed as I let him teach me to heal. And so what's cool about that is that it really kind of is a pressure release, isn't it? It's like I am willing to be a vehicle for truth, for that which comes through me in an inspired way. I will do the work, I will do the research, I will pull things together, but just as often this just gets chucked and something else comes through entirely. But I will share that I was inspired for today's talk through a documentary, and I hope you all watch it. It's called Who We Are. And it really is a documentary about where we are with science and spirituality. In this documentary, Dr. Dean Radin from the Institute of Noetic Science, or IONS, he says it's long been assumed by medical science that the brain is the reason we have consciousness. We don't buy that at Unity, do we? No. It's difficult to actually prove that the brain is generating consciousness, and so it's just as reasonable that it's the other way around, that the brain is receiving consciousness. It's a filter for consciousness, and that consciousness is somehow out there everywhere, like a frequency that's available for us to tune into. But to the extent that we are tuned in, that really is the extent to which we can live peace that is available to all of us. But this idea that this frequency is all over, everywhere, at all times, it's kind of like the difference between opening up a radio and expecting to find the source of the music inside, like little people playing instruments, versus opening it up and seeing that there is something mechanical, some technology that is allowing it to pick up that frequency. Well, we have the ability to transmit that information, that source of all there is, from somewhere else or from deep within, because God is in all places at all times. We've been stuck in a scientific culture of denial for too long. But if you look at history, major scientific breakthroughs and shifts occur when the paradigm reaches a breaking point. And I believe we are super close to a breaking point. There is so much evidence of consciousness existing beyond our physical bodies. What experiences have you had of this existence, of the essence of what you are, not being just what animates your body? I mean, sciences like epigenetics, remote viewing, and other out-of-body experiences, clairvoyance, clairaudience, all the clairs, and psychic phenomenon. It is so time for us to reach this tipping point, because I don't know about you, but I have these deep, profound spiritual experiences quite often, but they come by making time for them to occur. And they come because I ask for them to come. I think the mind has tremendous power over matter, but that we need to practice accessing this quantum field. Science does search for meaning in this field, but we believe that this field is spirit, and they are one and the same, something that is invisible, that is causing things to occur. That is synonymous with a field and with spirit. A shift like this, that we have the ability to shape our experience, as we learn to be more connected to consciousness, it is happening more and more because people like you and me are being more vocal about the experiences that we're having. It's really hard to think that there are still some realms in medical science and traditional science that would say positive thinking is phooey or prayer doesn't really have an impact, because they at the same time believe in the placebo effect. And the placebo effect really is saying that belief and expectation have an influence in the healing process. We do a lot of our testing using the placebo effect, so you would think it wouldn't be a hard gap to bridge with this understanding. So I ask again, what mystical experiences have you had? And how can we help others just by sharing what it is we go through, so that they can have this space held for them to be open to their own mystical revelations? It is said that 90% of doctor visits are stress-related. Can you imagine how much more stress we're under with the elections recently, all the dissension out there, the media vying for our attention, COVID, illness? There is so much fear. And yet, all of those things are distractions. Affirmations can seem like an inconsistent and unreliable practice, but they do manipulate the world in some way. We've all had experiences that can validate affirmations as well. Probably we've had experiences that they can be negated, like we've had an affirmation about something that didn't come to pass, and that can be really frustrating and make it feel inconsistent. But there is this deeper connection. There is a Sanskrit word for intuition, and it is really talking about this life force that we can give our focus to. Like the yogis tapping into this sense of connection. It's deeper than just being in prayer and in silence. It's holding an intention and an awareness. It's very difficult to get rid of thought in meditation, but instead of trying, replace it with something else. I've been studying Ho'oponopono for a while, and I'm going to become certified in this art because it is such a strategy of giving your mind something to be preoccupied with rather than being at the whim of all the distractions. We can really feel like a bobber being tossed around on the ocean. But if you can give yourself a practice, a mantra, deep breathing is something that will really help to tune back into spirit. But recently, just this diving into Ho'oponopono has been such a gift. It's really just a reminder, because it's not new, but to remind you of what Ho'oponopono is. Dr. Len is the one who in Hawaii held the files of each and every member who was being housed in an institution for the criminally insane. And there were people there that were beyond hope, according to medical science. But instead of trying to talk to them or ask them to change, just like the Course in Miracles says. This practice of Ho'oponopono is taking utter responsibility for you shaping the way the world is, for you shaping everything in the world. And so this mantra, this practice, is to say these 4 phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And just like anything, we can say those phrases without the attachment or the connection. And so to hold the intention about what each of those phrases means is what makes the difference in your experience. What I am studying with Ho'oponopono is the depth that each of these phrases can hold. I love you is the ability to tap deeply into all that is. There is only love. Love is all there is. And those beginning words in the Course in Miracles, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. That is what I tap into when I'm saying the I love you. And I'm sorry. Now, this is something that a lot of people struggle with. What do I have to say I'm sorry to when I'm holding this healing for someone else or for myself or for the world or for what I see that I don't like? And to me, that is just saying, I'm sorry that I could have perceived this as anything but the divine unfolding. That I am seeing fear and dissension, and that I'm seeing a disease like COVID is even possible, that I am seeing people making decisions that I would judge as not being right, that I even have the ability to see something as not perfect. That is what I'm sorry for, because that is me getting in the way of the God unfolding. When instead I can trust that nothing happens outside of God's plan, that's the only time I am truly healed. So to be able to say, I'm sorry for my part in this creation, for thinking that this could possibly be outside of your plan, that's totally my ego. That's my own story. That's my projection. And you know, I'm not mad at myself for that. There is programming that happened to each and every one of us from the time we are born to the time we're 7 years old. We are programmed by watching what happens. In those years, we don't have that outbound, constant, obsessive thinking on autopilot. We are a sponge. We are absorbing absolutely everything. And unless there are parents saying, you are amazing, you are capable of greatness, you're probably hearing, you aren't good enough. Stop doing that. And that is the programming that we project out, that there could be a right and a wrong. So I love you. I'm sorry. I'm taking ownership in my part in this. Please forgive me. It's just acknowledging there is innocence everywhere. God is in everything at all times. And then thank you. Even in isolation, thank you is enough for major shifts to occur. Thank you is the gratitude that can be such a fountain of life force energy. Nothing replaces that overflowing feeling when you are in deep gratitude, when you are in appreciation. So this deep intentional work of a mantra, of replacing our little thoughts, our monkey mind. My favorite way to talk about that incessant flow of thinking is to think of those thoughts as the annoying roommate. Always there. But I get to choose. I get to choose to be connected, to open the flow. Closed-minded people, it's not out of choice. It is their programming that is not allowing that fullness to be. And so just by holding the space for there to be a different way allows for a deeper connection. And I think what I really want more than anything from people like us who have had mystical experiences, who have had glimpses of revelation and their own connection with Source, I'm asking us not to tell other people what they need to do to experience those things, but to be more open about our own interactions with the divine. To me, that just creates the space for people to be willing to explore for themselves, and for people to be willing to talk about their own experiences. I know I've kind of been a closet spiritualist for many years, and it feels so good to be more brave about what actually happens. I think going through the dying process with my mom and my dad and my sister opened me up to so many deep, profound, moving experiences that it would be a shame if I'm closeting that, if I'm not allowing myself to express fully what those experiences meant to me. And so I wonder if we can help people understand that death is not to be feared, that the essence of what we are goes on forever. I wonder if we can approach what's happening with COVID, what's happening with health, what's happening with fear and dissension. I wonder if we can just treat it with a curious mind. Anything that no longer serves us has to be shaken and fall away. Can we just be curious and more open to what that looks like? I wanted to share a song that my sister wrote when she had cancer, because to me, this is the epitome of this kind of curiosity. I wonder what it looks like on the other side. Could grass be any greener? Could sunshine be more bright? Could colors of the rainbow take my breath away like they do here? And could I see the fires glow when the driveway's covered in snow from there? I wonder what it sounds like on the other side. Could angels sing more beautifully when they harmonize than I do with my sister? Could I tell her that I miss her in a song? And speaking of the music, I hope I hear my mommy sing along. I wonder what it feels like on the other side. Could love be felt more deeply than from my daddy's eyes? Could God's arms be more healing than the arms that I can feel around me now? And can I send my kisses to my lover when he misses me somehow? I wonder what it looks like on the other side. I wonder what it sounds like on the other side. I wonder what it feels like to die. And yet, I have had a very mystical encounter with my sister since she's crossed over. And I have to say that it was one of the most life-changing experiences I have ever had. I'm not psychic yet. I wish I were. I wish I could talk to dead people on my own. But I have a friend who can, and I had a 90-minute conversation with my sister on the other side. And this idea that there is only love was so palpable. Honestly, my hands were tingling. My body was warm. I could feel this shaft of unconditional love. And it was more than Lauren, it was God. I wish for everybody to have mystical experiences like this. But I believe the only way we can is when we make this time, the time to quiet the external noise. And I believe we need to ask for profound experiences. We deserve them. These are the glimpses that you are one with God. And these are how we can usher in this shift that is so primed and ready for us to wake up to the wholeness of God. And so I've been reading some things that I like to draw from. One of them is this book called The Sophia Code. And it is really all about ascended master mentors and how we can call upon the realms of the unseen to help us. So it's a book that I haven't finished yet, but I still recommend it because it's very deep and profound. And then as I was getting ready for this morning, I always ask, is there anything else? Is there anything that I need to add to this? So I opened up this Meditations from Conversations with God. And just like the daily word and the song that Jim played, it was so perfect I had to share it with you. We were talking about a closer look at love. We were talking about your soul being here for a reason. And this is the quote I opened up to. This is the goal of your soul. This is its purpose, to fully realize itself while in the body, to become the embodiment of all that it really is. So I bless you, and I ask for you your own growing, profound experiences with God. Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Kristin. Thank you very much. That was great.